Marketing's about values. This is a very complicated world. It's a very noisy world.
Most people misunderstand marketing. Steve Jobs believed marketing was really about value. Marketing is not just about selling a product. It's about delivering real value to your audience. When you focus on what truly helps your customers, solving their problems, or enriching their lives, you build trust, loyalty, and long-term success. Think of marketing as a bridge. It connects the value you create with the needs your audience has. When that connection is strong, marketing becomes a powerful tool for growth.
And we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is.
Marketing is not just about selling a product. It's about delivering real value to your audience. When you focus on what truly helps your customers, solving their problems, or enriching their lives, you build trust, loyalty, and long-term success. Think of marketing as a bridge. It connects the value you create with the needs your audience has. When that connection is strong, marketing becomes a powerful tool for growth.
And so we have to be really clear on what we want them to know about us. The way to do that is not to talk about speeds and feeds. It's not to talk about MIPS and megahertz. It's not to talk about why we're better than Windows.
Because great companies are not remembered for technical specifications. They are remembered for what people felt when they used their products. Most businesses spend their time trying to prove they're faster, smarter, or cheaper. They communicate identity, purpose, vision. That was the genius of Apple. Steve Jobs understood that people do not simply buy products. They buy meaning. But the companies that truly stand out communicate something deeper. They communicate identity, purpose, vision. That was the genius of Apple. Steve Jobs understood that people do not simply buy products. They buy meaning.
The dairy industry tried for 20 years to convince you that milk was good for you. It's a lie, but they tried anyway. And the sales were going like this. And then they tried Got Milk, and the sales are going like this. Got Milk doesn't even talk about the product. Matter of fact, it focuses on the absence of the product. But the best example of all, and one of the greatest jobs of marketing in the universe has ever seen is Nike. Remember, Nike sells a commodity. They sell shoes. And yet, when you think of Nike, you feel something different than a shoe company. In their ads, as you know, they don't ever talk about the products. They don't ever tell you about their air soles and why they're better than Reebok's air soles. What does Nike do in their advertising? They honor great athletes and they honor great athletics. That's who they are. That's what they are about.
The most powerful marketing does not always sell the product directly. Sometimes it sells a feeling. For years, the dairy industry tried to convince people that milk was healthy. But the message never truly connected. Everything changed when the campaign became emotional instead of informational. Got Milk never focused on milk itself. It focused on the feeling of not having it. That simple psychological shift changed everything. Nike sells shoes. But when people think about Nike, they feel ambition, discipline, greatness. Their advertisements rarely focus on the product itself. Instead, they honor athletes, sacrifice, persistence, the human spirit, because the greatest brands understand something powerful. People do not buy products emotionally connected to nothing. They buy identity, meaning, belief, and that was exactly what Steve Jobs understood.
Our customers want to know who is Apple and what is it that we stand for. Where do we fit in this world? Apple, at the core, its core value is that we believe that people with passion can change the world for the better. And that those people that are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that actually do. A lot of things have changed. The market's a totally different place than it was a decade ago. And Apple's totally different, and Apple's place in it is totally different. And believe me, the products and the distribution strategy and the manufacturing are totally different, and we understand that. But values and core values, those things shouldn't change.
Steve Jobs once said something that still defines Apple today. At its core, Apple believes that people with passion can change the world for the better. And the people crazy enough to think they can change the world are often the ones who actually do. But here is what many people miss. The market has changed completely. A decade ago is not the same as today. Apple itself is not the same company it used to be. But while products change, distribution changes, and markets evolve, one thing should never change: your values, your core beliefs, your identity.